We are posting this on Juneteenth. Juneteenth is on June 19th. It's celebrated every year in the same way that the 4th of July is celebrated. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed on January 31st in 1865, but it took almost 6 months before slaves even knew they were free, which is why Juneteenth is so important, because they were working as slaves for another 6 months even after they were freed because no one told them. Right. So that's why it's such an important holiday. And if you didn't know it exists, that's okay that you didn't know, but you do know now. So in the same way you're excited about Free Jelly Donut Day, please acknowledge this day that we see our independence in history. Hi guys, thank you for joining us for this rumor mill. My name is Tanash Nicole.
It's your girl Astrid.
And today we aren't going to be our normal happy-go-lucky selves. We're going to be addressing the Black Lives Matter movement and just the political climate that we're in general.
Now, I know a lot of you may be thinking, what the heck took y'all so long? Yeah, I know. So when this took place, you know, Tanash and I were very quiet on social media and on YouTube, mainly because there was just a lot of dialogue going on behind the scenes between the both of us and within our families. And, you know, I'm going to speak from the perspective of an ally, and then, of course, you can speak from the perspective of yourself. But as an ally, you know, I think first and foremost, the biggest thing for me to do was really honestly to shut up and just sit down and listen. Because if I'm not educated on something that I'm trying to support, then I'm really kind of not doing a good service to that movement. And that was the biggest thing that I was trying to do, was really just sitting down and watching everyone speak their own truths and speak their experiences, you know. Just so happened that I had downloaded TikTok on my phone, like not long before the unfortunate event took place. And I really delved into it, like to the point that that was all I was doing, was watching people on TikTok, mainly just people of color in the Black community, that were talking about their experiences growing up in this country. Every single moment of systemic racism that's experienced, not just police brutality, but in other aspects of their life, aspects of their life that I honestly had never even thought about. And things like that really open your eyes and you educate yourself. And then in doing that is when, you know, Tanaj and I were having conversations that were very difficult conversations. I'm getting a little choked up and my voice is trembling because, you know, they were conversations that brought a lot of tears and a lot of emotions out of both of us. And it's hard to, well, number one, it's hard to get on here and make a video regardless. It is. Because you're putting yourself out there. But number two, to talk about such a sensitive topic when you are mentally fractured is way harder.
Yeah, I'm always been the progressively politically forward person. I'm always doing side lectures while we're putting on our makeup before we get on here, telling her about the political climate. I'm telling her about the different struggles around the world. And she came to me when everything happened because I'm already the one educating her about all this stuff. And I couldn't. I cried a lot. Like, I'm holding back tears right now. I cried a lot. And it was mostly because it was seeing the actual manifestation of the knee of oppression on someone's neck take the life out of them. It hurt because it resonated so deeply in all the disappointments and all the fears and even my own interactions with the police. No, I wasn't arrested. No, I wasn't breaking the law outside of maybe doing a signal change too soon. Like, I'm not a criminal, but I've been spoken to as if I'm one and yelled at and, you know, corralled and followed in stores, and just my own experiences with telling her it. I didn't realize how much I endured because that's just my life. And I still have it to this day, where I know certain places where I have to behave a certain way. I can't say certain things.
Can't address certain ways. You know, you can't address certain people or say certain things.
It's prevalent everywhere, not just in the point of police brutality. This is a struggle that if you just started caring about Black lives now, you are in for a ride. Because if you've even watched a little bit of our channel, you see how much I struggle with foundation, okay? The fact that Astrid can go to any drugstore and confidently find her shade. And I'm like, oh, this is a guessing game today. Will I be there? And 90% of the time, I'm not. And
that's your skin tone.
Right, and that's me. I'm not a deep-skinned woman. I'm deep according to the beauty community, but I'm not chocolate. 9 out of 10 times I won't find it in the drugstore, but if I go to like Ulta, I can probably find it. There's times even at Ulta, they don't cater to the deepest. So it's...
Or you having to mix certain things together.
So the microcosms like that, they exist.
One thing I'll say about, and you can give me your feedback on this, I know we talked about it, but this time around it feels different.
It does.
Unfortunately, there have been several events in the past that are very similar to what happened with George Floyd. But this particular time, this arena, to see the public support of so many groups.
To see literally white people link arms in front of police and protest to literally protect us. That's getting there again. Just to see it. To be honest with you, never thought in my lifetime I would see it. And I really didn't think I would see it. I thought maybe for my children's children, but not now.
It's a testament to, that of course there's still racist people out there, but testament to the fact that, there's a generation growing up that
says no.
That says absolutely no. I'm going to stand up against this. And if that costs me my followers, it'll cost me my followers.
Right.
If it'll cost me relationships with family members, it'll cost me that. There's people that have lost lifelong friendships out of this. Or when you try to have a conversation and, I think conversations are just so powerful to have, but when you have a conversation and that person is just unwilling to understand.
Yeah.
It is what it is,
It is.
But the good thing is that now you have people that actively see it and actively defend it.
I think that was the hardest thing of understanding, like, the slogan of Black Lives Matter for so many people, because it seemed like an attack, and I had to really understand how could you possibly see that as an attack. You just have to compare it, just like when we're talking about breast cancer. You can't say, well, all cancers matter. We're talking about breast cancer right now. The Black community's house is on fire, and if you don't put this fire out, it's going to spread to all the other houses. So we have to address this fire. Please come put this fire out. We're begging and screaming to put this fire out. So then we can address all the other houses that have been burnt down in the past.
Absolutely. And that kind of circles back to what we want to do with our platform. Of course, we're part of the beauty community here on YouTube. So you might be wondering, what the heck does that have to do with y'all? Well, let's tell y'all. Yeah. Of course, in the beauty community, you have certain things come up that we have spoken about in the beginning of this video, where you feel like certain people of color, are being left out in terms of, entire collections, foundations, concealers. We've seen it time and time again. Infamously, the first thing that comes off the top of my head is Tarte, where they came out with their foundation shades. And, it's really something that Tanaj and I had been talking about for a long time, even prior to this unfortunate event taking place, that we wanted to be more active and use our platform to promote more Black-owned makeup companies. And she had a whole video set up. Haven't had a moment to really sit down and record it with everything going on. It just doesn't feel appropriate, and we're also not in that mindset to do it. But we did purchase a few products from Crayon Case Collection, which is a Black-owned makeup company. And we'll be releasing that video soon. But we do have others that are lined up just in the back of our heads that we really want to try. For me personally, it would be things like Beauty Bakery, which I've heard fantastic things about.
Yeah. Uma Beauty is another one. And, of course, the great Pat McGrath. She's just a little on that high end.
Just gotta get your paycheck.
We gonna get there, though. This is really important because you guys have to understand, being two minorities, two women of color, trying to represent ourselves on a platform, we really have thought long and hard about how we're going to represent ourselves. And that actually brings us to our next thing.
Our next thing, which is a very big announcement. But we felt it appropriate from this moment forward to change our YouTube name. This will be the last video that we release under the name Rumor Mill. Yeah. And we will now be called Color and Beauty. Now I don't gotta explain that to you, do you?
We just felt as YouTube channels grow and you start to identify what your platform really is, we just feel like this is very appropriate and we're happy with it and we hope you guys are too.
Yes.
So just to wrap things up, we want you guys to know that we hear you, we feel you, and I thank you personally for caring about the community that I belong to.
And if you made it this far in the video, we thank you as well because we know it's not our typical content, but we appreciate it.
And if you are someone who's still kind of holding on to that all lives matter, just know that all lives cannot matter until Black lives do too.
Well, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.